Okay, hello guys. Yeah, today we are going to look at backend development using PHP. So try to see what backend development is all about, how backend and front end interact with each other, why PHP is very, very relevant. PHP and PHP are very relevant, and how to set up a PHP development environment first, then before we now look at getting started with PHP development. All right, so first of all, what is backend development? So this is backend development is the engine room of application. So it ensures that when you click a button or fill a form on the front end, the correct information is processed, stored, and returned from the server back to the user. You understand? So in form of response. So the backend development involve building the server-side logic, databases, and API that powers web applications. Web applications, that's what I mean. Because we want to say website, either website or web application, whichever way. Yes. So backend is the heart of an application. So without the backend, a user cannot interact with the database. So at the end of the day, when once a user clicks any button or submit any form, the information or the data need to be saved to the database. So it is the back end that makes that to be possible. Back end can use any programming language, either C Sharp, either JavaScript, either C++, either Java. But our own main focus is how we can actually use PHP to interact with the database, which is the server, which is the database. All right, now let's see how front end and back end work together. Now, they communicate primarily over internet using what? HTTP protocol, where the front end send request to an API on the back end, which is the server. The request is processed and returns data, usually in JSON format. That is JavaScript object notation. So this process follow request response, typically with a HTTP status code, such as 200, 404, 500. So 200. Now, if a request is sent to the server and the request reached the server successfully, HTTP return a status code of 200, which simply means the request was successful. If the request did not see the server, it returns 404, which means the server that the request was sent to is not found. Or it returns 500, simply means the server has been found, but there is error in the database. So that's why you return 500. You understand? So that is that. So that is how front end and back end interact, depending, no matter the application they are using, insofar there is a front end and back end communication. Now, why is PHP and MySQL still relevant in today's software ecosystem? Now, one, it has powerful synergy. Therefore, mean that PHP can interact with any platform, with any technology easily because it's an open source. It's low cost in terms of hosting, in terms of development, in terms of setting it up is very low. It doesn't take much resources. It has a robust ecosystem. Yes, because it's an open source, so a lot of people contribute to it. Once you have a problem, you can always find solution from it. And then it has vast number of existing websites relying on it. A lot of websites rely on PHP. Over 70% of websites are running on PHP. It has rich content management systems such as WordPress, Drupal, Joomla. Millions of websites are running on them. So you see, PHP is so broad. Yes, PHP framework such as there's PHP framework such as the Laravel, Symfony, Code Igniter. So this provides structure and best practices, enabling developer to build robust application rapidly. Yes, sir. And so you also have a library. You also have libraries and packages. One of it is Composer. So Composer is a PHP dependency manager that allows integration of third-party libraries into your application. So what it does is that if you want third-party library to be installed into your application, let's say like a PDF, Excel export library at any library. So you can use Composer to install them. Or if you want to use a framework like Laravel, you need a Composer to use and then install them. And Composer run on the command line. So that is why I say that if you are a PHP developer, you always have a work to do. All right, now PHP does not run on its own. It needs an environment to run on. PHP has WAMP has servers, commonly used servers, which are the WAMP server and XAMPP server. So WAMP server is Windows Apache MySQL PHP. It only runs on Windows, uses MySQL, and generally light. It is lighter compared to other. So it focuses basically on Apache PHP MySQL stack. It doesn't have other packages incorporated in it. Then we have XAMPP. XAMPP is a cross-platform. Cross-platform simply means it can run on Windows, it can run on Linux, it can run on Mac. It uses MariaDB. It has more comprehensive package such as FileZilla, File Transfer Protocol, Tomcat, Mercury Mail for testing mail functionality, and it is designed for more complex, versatile development. All right, so now how do we install the WAMP server before we start using it? First, we have to go to the website. Now we go to this website to download WAMP server and use it to wampserver.com/this. Then we click on start using WAMP server, and then we click on WAMP server 62-bit. And then here, if you are interested, you fill this form in order to download it. If you don't, you are interested, you can now download it directly from here. You can click on it. When you click on it, you can download directly from here. So you will now start downloading. But once you reach, it will now pop up. You have started now. I've already downloaded it before, so there's no need. So you start. But once you download, so at default, yeah, you are downloaded to downloads directory on your system. So now we can now go to our system, click on it, uh, Explorer, click on this computer, click on download, and then look for it. You are going to see WAMP server in there. So this is oh, okay. System just freeze. Okay, so we look for WAMP server. Okay, so here it is. Okay, here it is. So here is WAMP server. So all what you need to do is to double click on it. You will now tell you click on yes to start the installation. Click on there. Click on English. Accept the agreement. Click on it. Click on next. Then you will now create a folder and call it WAM64. Click on next to install. Then it will start the installation for you. It's installing. In a few minutes, it should be done with the installation. As your default browser for WAM, I say yes. Then do you want to use, I just click on OK to connect it. Do you want to use Notepad as your default editor? I click on yes. And then I click on to install, okay? So it's almost done. Okay. Done, almost done. All right, click on next, click on finish. So we have finished the installation now. The same thing goes with XAMPP. If you want to install XAMPP, we now come to click on yeah, we now click on go to XAMPP, just go to Apache Friends. For Apache Friends, now we can now download. No, XAMPP is for many platforms. So you have for Windows, we have for browser, we have for Linux, we have for OS, which is Mac. So you can now download anyone you want to download and install. So I've already downloaded and installed. So I will just, so it's still the same process with installing WAMP server. So that is that. So now, after installing this now, how do we know that, okay, that we have successfully installed it and then we can use it? Now, take note of this. You can use any of this install server to run your PHP. If you are using SAM, save your files and folder in htdoc directory of the XAMPP directory from your computer local disk C. If you are using WAM server, save your files or folder in the www directory of the WAM directory from your computer local disk C. Now, so now let us just see how, now, well, once we finish the installation now, let's see how we can now check the directory. So if we come to this computer and click on it, and then we look for WAMP server. This is WAMP server that we have installed, and then we look for it. Then this is the W directory. If you look at it, that this is where you put your folder. Let's say, for instance, now I want to start a new project. I can now create here. Then I will just say PHP training. You understand? So PHP training, I save it there. So I save, or once I now use a text editor, I will pull everything out from here and just save it there. If I want to start a new project, I can now start and then start with index.php at the test maybe. Now, if you want to use some, you can come down here and click on it and then click on htdocs, and then this is where you see there are so many files there. This is where you can save your work to. Yeah. So if you open it, these are the folder, the folder or the directory of your project. You can save it down there. So that is how to move in between. That is how to start your project by now, where the folder or the directories that you can actually save your project files to. All right. So now, after we have installed this exam, how do we start it up? We have to start it up. How do we know that we have installed it successfully? What we need to do is that we come to your Windows start bar, type WAM. And once you type WAM, it will now show, it show you that it has been installed. Then we can now click on it to open it. Then click yes. Okay. We click yes now. So it will start, we come down, we click here, and then it will start loading. So we show this at the taskbar, we show this red icon. This red icon simply means WAM have started, but it's not yet ready to be used. That is why it's showing red icon of WAM. So now you just wait a minute, you say, wait, let all the services start. Okay, see, it changes to orange. He said that, okay, one of the three services have started. So it changes to yes, so it's ready. So, wow, there are still more services. Now, we cannot use this because a particular service is not running. Why is it not running? Let us see why, if we can access WAM. We can access WAM server through what? Local host. Let's see. If you click on it, you find out that it's showing something else. Why? It's showing because now the default local port, which is a port, let's say port 80, port 80 has been taken by IIS Windows, which is a Internet Information Services, a web host or a web server that is owned by Microsoft Windows, Microsoft that comes with Microsoft Windows. So what do we do now? We have to now go and change the port and then restart our services. So we come down here, we click on here, and then we look for, I come to Apache, and then we now click on HTTPD doc. So once we click on it, we look for port. We now do Control F and then type ports to look for our port. And then we find down. You see, it listens to 80, which is the default. So what we need to do, we change it to 83. We change it to 83, and then we change it to 83. So we want it to listen to 83 now. We save it, close this. And then so when you close, we come down here to here, and then we restart this. Click on here to restart. We say restart all services. Let's see. Okay, so it's going to restart all the services for us now. So it's restarting all the services. Okay, so it now show green. It therefore means that all the services have restarted. So now we come down here and then we put here 83 and then press enter. So it's going to load it for us. See, this shows that, okay, your WAMP server has been successfully installed, and then the port is running on, is listening to 83 ports. So that's how we can, the same thing goes with XAMPP. How do we start XAMPP? Let's click on it. Click on the window, tap window, then type XAMPP pp. So it brings it out for us. Then we click on it. And then we will now display the control panel. Here we click on Start Apache, Start MySQL. Okay. So now, yeah, MySQL is not starting because MySQL is used by some other application that is running, which is the XAMPP. So we can now come down here and then right click on it and then exit it. And then now we exit it, we can actually click on this one now to start. Let's say start SQL. So SQL now start and it's running well. So now the point is that if we come down here, is it running on default? Let's check and see if it's running on default. If we click here and say, no, it's not running on default, we cannot actually view XAMPP. So what do? We come to the panel and then we click on this Apache config. We click on config and then we now look for httpd.gap. We click on it and then we find the port that is running, say Control F and then say port, the port, and then click on fine. Okay, now, so this was changed in order for it not to conflict with the A0, which is what, 82. So we now come down here and then come to our browser and then put column 82 and then press enter. So what happened? It now loads this for us. So therefore mean that, guys, so we have been able to look at how to install XAMPP, how to install WAMP. So we have set up our development environment and get ready to start PHP. In the next lesson, we are going to learn how to start programming with PHP based on what we have learned so far. All right.